verse 1 to 20, and says, are you there? Daniel chapter 1, from verse 1 to 20. It says, during the third year of King Jehoiakim reign in Judah, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came to Jerusalem and besieged it. The Lord gave him victory over King Jehoiakim of Judah and permitted him to take some of the sacred objects from the temple of God. So Nebuchadnezzar took them back to the land of Babylonia and placed them in the treasure house of his God. Then the king ordered Ashpenaz, the chief of staff, to bring to the palace some of the young men of Judah's royal family and other noble families who had been brought to Babylon as captives. Select only strong, healthy, and good-looking young men, he said. Make sure they are well versed in every branch of learning, are gifted with knowledge and good judgment, and are suited to serve in the royal palace. Train these young men in the language and literature of Babylon, The king assigned them a daily ration of food and wine from his own kitchens. They were to be trained for 3 years, and then they would enter the royal service. Verse 6. Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah were 4 of the young men chosen, all from the tribe of Judah. The chief of staff renamed them with these Babylonian names. Daniel was called Belshazzar, Hananiah was called Shadrach, Mishael was called Meshach, and Azariah was called Abednego. But Daniel was determined not to defile himself by eating the food and wine given to them by the king. He asked the chief of staff for permission not to eat these unacceptable foods. Now God had given the chief of staff both respect and affection for Daniel, but he responded, I'm afraid of my lord the king, who has ordered that you eat this food and wine. If you become pale and thin compared to the other youths your age, I'm afraid the king will have me beheaded. Daniel spoke with the attendant who had been appointed by the chief of staff to look after Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Please test us for 10 days on a diet of vegetables and water, Daniel said. At the end of the 10 days, see how we look compared to the other young men who are eating the king's food. Then make your decision in light of what you see. The attendant agreed to Daniel's suggestion and tested them for 10 days. Verse 15, at the end of the 10 days, Daniel and his 3 friends looked healthier and better nourished than the young men who had been eating the food assigned by the king. So after that, the attendant fed them only vegetables instead of the food and wine provided for the others. Verse 17, God gave these 4 young men an unusual aptitude for understanding every aspect of literature and wisdom, and God gave Daniel the special ability to interpret the meanings of visions and dreams. Verse 18, when the training period ordered by the king was completed, the chief of staff brought all the young men to King Nebuchadnezzar. The king talked with them, and no one impressed him as much as Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. So they entered the royal service whenever the king consulted them in any matter required wisdom and balanced judgment. He found them 10 times more capable than any of the magicians and enchanters in his entire kingdom. That's the word of God. Yeah, so at this point, I'd like to invite our preachers for today, that is Martin and Wendy, to give us the go-ahead of today. We pray that God will prepare your hearts to listen to understand His word. Yeah, so invite Martin and Wendy.
Good morning. How are you? Thank you, the service host, for inviting us. So I will welcome Wendy in a moment. Yes. So as you all know, my name is Martin Omach. Jesus is Lord and Savior over my life, and I thank God for this opportunity that the church leadership has provided me to just share briefly what we've been doing. Praise the Lord. Amen. So I will just do a recap of what Chari and Ian started last time about education. Yeah, last time Chari talked about what we have learned and how we plan to proceed in terms of education. So she did mention a number of things about learning and education. And before I go into that, I just want to give us a highlight on about Daniel chapter 1. I never saw it that way before. Praise the Lord. Yeah, about these 3 young men. There were 4, actually, 4 young men, Hebrews, who were in captivity in Babylon. And yeah. So that is Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and also Daniel. They were Hebrews who were taken captivity by King Nebuchadnezzar after Judah had and Israel had sinned, and God put them into the hands of Nebuchadnezzar. But I thank God they never lost focus, praise the Lord, of what was very important. So King Nebuchadnezzar put them into a university. All right, he put them into the school, and they actually did a graduation. I don't know if you've ever thought seriously about it. They did a graduation ceremony, and they were found to be 10 times better than all the rest. In other words, they graduated with distinction. Praise the Lord, because they actually did so well in their examination. And then let me, in my amplified version, that is Daniel chapter 1 verse 17, he puts it very well. Amplified version. Verse 17. If you have the amplified, you can just read for us. Verse 17.
As for these 4 youths, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all kinds of visions and dreams.
In all learning. This one. All right. This version of mine says, now as for these 4 young men, God gave them knowledge and made them expert in all book learning and wisdom. Learning, book, this one puts it, book learning and wisdom. And Daniel was wise in all visions and dreams. Praise the Lord. So this means that there is a place for book learning. Praise the Lord. Because these young men were put under vigorous training for 3 years, just as in universities we are normally trained for at least 3 years. Then we are graduated. Praise the Lord. So having said that, last time Ian and Chari made mention of certain things. I want to just review, recap, and as we continue. So we are talking about, they talked about last time what we've learned and how we plan to proceed about education and in line with the Junction program. So, and they did mention that about what we've learned, that learning should be broad-based, that is holistic, fun, exciting, and lifelong. So whatever we are doing here, we are not just working with the children for now, but this is going to be lifelong. The other time, there was a time Pastor we were talking as we were sharing, and he did mention to me that what would how will it be after maybe 10 years from now, or even 20 years from now? Will I still will we still be, like he used an example of Mo? I don't know Mo will be how old, 10, 20 years to come. But when we meet, what they've acquired from here, will she be able to relate with? Praise the Lord. Because of her learning something very special at her age now. Will she be able to preserve what she's learning after 10 years? Or we are just doing it for the time being, then we forget about what we are teaching them. Praise the Lord. So we are not just here to maybe have good time with the children, but it should be very, as in learning should be lifelong and also broad-based. We are not just narrowed down to the reading, writing, and arithmetic, but kind of holistic. Praise the Lord. And then she also, Chari did mention that all of learning should be permeated or infused with God's presence, power, and principles or values. That means should be value based. We should be adding value to. We should be imparting values to the learners as they learn. We kind of bring out that aspect of value so that they are able to relate with, and even in their personal life, they are able to put it into practice. Praise the Lord. Yeah. So I think that is what Chari did mention, and now I just want us now to look at now how are we going to engage. Praise the Lord. How are we going to engage? We are talking here of the Junction program, and we as church members, we are expected to engage somehow. What the Junction program that was started, we need to kind of engage. How do we engage in the Junction program? As church members, I know it was when it was introduced, we had different ideas, opinions about it, but now we really need to engage, because this is not left to maybe teachers who are running the program, maybe volunteers who are coming around. We as a church, we need to engage in the program because it is very helpful. And I thank God because of the Chrysolite Academy, which provided the resources, the school resources that is available, and children can actually make good use of those resources because they are available. Praise the Lord. So we need to encourage our children to come and maybe engage with the books, because they are there in the store, and we don't just need to keep them there, but we need those books to be used in their learning. And also if you there is some good stuff. You can read the history of the world. I know we've been taught of the Kenyan geography, history. You can learn about the world. There are good materials. You can learn anything you want to learn. They are there. So I think we are availing them to the children. It's only that they have not. The system is different from the 844 curriculum, but if a child is willing to learn extra, we can really help her. We are really committed. We are a committed team of volunteers. We can be able to assist them if they need. Like for example, I've been teaching on handwriting, and we are not just going to do the Kenyan system way, because in the Kenyan system we are taught to write the normal handwriting, but there is the extra, the cursive handwriting, which we have resources. This is I've just given it as for example, but they are much. Those who have engaged with the ACE system know there are a lot of good stuff that our children can be exposed to. And then another thing that we can do as parents, we can also volunteer to come over. When you have time during the program, you can help in one way or the other in the running running the program, and also as long as you're willing to also learn, we can you can assist in any area. Then there is what is known as fat. You only need to be fat. That is being faithful, and then available, and also teachable. You can be. I'm also learning as a volunteer. I'm also learning. There are many things that I'm learning on how to, manage. How to. I've learned quite a lot. Mainly from our pastor. Ian, our director, and Chari. There are many things that we are learning. So you can also come over, and you being available here, you learn about how to teach children even at home, and then just there are many stuff you can be able to engage and learn. All right. So, having said that, as I wind up my presentation, I don't know if any one of you, you know, I'm a teacher and I love the interaction, you know. Yes, if anyone has any question you can ask. Yeah, you can feel free to ask. Anybody. Yes, Adams.
How long does it take for someone like me to learn how to teach?
I think it's a lifetime, as in, you know, nobody is amefika, you know. But there are stuff you can learn, that you can be able to use it even at home. Yeah. I think one of the programs we are having next weekend, we'll be meeting with the parents and the volunteers. So I think this is kind of ongoing. So the training is ongoing. So whatever little you learn, little here, little there, with the time you've learned quite something. Yeah. So it's a process. Learning is a process. Yes.
So basically, just learning from observation, not necessarily having like a program to teach the learners so that they can teach better, or the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So like if someone wanted to engage children somewhere else,
Yes.
and they say, oh, can we come to LCC and learn? You know, like would that take them like a month, 3 months? You know, because even though you didn't go to university to learn for 8 years, so there's always like a limit of a certain period of time.
Yes.
You don't have to answer now.
It's okay. But generally, learning is continuous. We cannot say that now nimejifunza enough. There is always a new thing to learn. As long as you are alive, there is a new thing you learn. So we keep learning. As somebody said, when you stop learning, what happens? You die. Yeah, that's the end of you. Yes, Mom.
Okay, just to contribute a bit from what Adams has asked. My understanding of the junction, I guess we are talking about in the context of the junction. From a teacher's perspective, you come to share what you already have. So you are not starting from ground zero. You are at a certain point. For example, you may be skilled in craftsmanship, that one, of some sort. So you can come and use the skill that you have to impart or train the children in that particular area. So you are not doing something that is totally new to you. And if you are good in math, you don't need to be trained on how to teach math, for example. It's already in your system, so you're just coming to share what you already have. So it's identifying what you have and then volunteering to train the children in that area. If you're good in culinary arts, then you come and train the children in that area, or sports or whatever field. That's my understanding.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes,
I'm just asking, just in line with what you have said on the junction, will you be informing, like, let's say, like the congregation or the interested people, when you're offering, like, let's say, this weekend we are going to learn about this, because maybe I may be interested in something and I don't know when maybe somebody is coming to teach about the same. Maybe I'm interested in just knowing something like maybe sewing clothes, and maybe that weekend, that is when maybe we are doing such a thing is happening, and I don't know. So will you be giving like information that maybe this week we are doing this? Because like maybe for me or maybe other people, I may be interested in something else, and it's happening, and I really don't know what's going on. especially people who don't like reading like me, things that I can see. Maybe, I believe maybe even the Junction could have invited like a professional, and it could be a chance, that the only chance to have the 4-year course within 2 hours. Then I miss, then I feel I've been left out. So if I want to engage in that way, how will I know that this thing is happening?
Are you asking from a parent's perspective or a student's perspective? I come to that.
No.
Maybe you can just you can just inform us what you're interested in early. Then when we know your areas of interest, when we organize that, we can be able to inform you on time so that you yeah. But generally, okay, books are there. Even when, like for example, I can give an example. Speech. Maybe you might be interested in maybe public speaking. You know, there are books that are talking about public speaking. You can, I don't know, but I know some of us don't like reading books. But now that is our undoing. I think that is our undoing, because somebody said that when you want to hide something from an Africa, just put it down on a book, and then it is forever. I think we are changing the narrative now. We just have to develop a culture of reading, because even in our use of gadgets like this smartphone, you see, most of us can't access stuff because of our limited learning, you know. But we have the whole world in this smartphone. So I think to run away from books is not the solution. The solution is to engage. Yeah, we should, as in more so in literature, you know, there is a lot of knowledge that is out there of which we are not making good use of. Yes, Rongari?
So just try to answer Wilson's question.
Yes.
I think the Junction is trying to reach kids in the community. So we try to teach the skills that we have. So it might be a very good skill, the sewing, but none of the volunteers knows how to sew. So we'd also like the members to, you come with the skill you have, volunteer yourself for the, let's say if you're available for a month, you teach for that month that particular skill. And then if there are members who are saying that sewing is being offered for December and I don't know how to sew, you can come and engage during that month. But then again, we can't offer skills we don't have, because I think we'd be doing injustice to the kids. So I think that's how it would help you with that particular one. Yes.
Thank you, Rongari. Any other question?
But I also think that if there is a congregation program that's particular skill, if you're good in welding, like somebody I know, then just tell us, I would like to teach these young guys how to do welding. It's a very safe skill. A lot of the time we are told, don't go near it. But it's a very, very safe skill. And kids can learn it as early as Steve here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
My understanding of nutrition, you know something, you will not know. Now you are getting, maybe I've never done it before, and maybe I'm good at something. So the question is, do you have a training for somebody who may be interested now to teach children something, but you don't have to tell children, I don't know how they do it.
That's very important.
Yeah, I have some knowledge, but I don't know how they really handle it, how do you handle it? Do you have training for somebody who will be able to follow and start?
And that's why I think that's why we are a team. If you don't have that skill, I may have it, or somebody else may have it. So with us working as a team, I think it will cover up all those. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Maybe just to help you a bit on that, apart from what Martin has already said, the other thing that maybe just to inform all of us is that all the teachers go through training, so it's part of the program too. We do the trainings before the program starts for around one weekend before it starts. Then along the way, as we continue, we also have other trainings that are running. Like now this Saturday, when now the kids won't be in and we'll be having their parents. We have the parent session for a big part of the day, but then there's also a part of it that we'll be doing the training. And in that training, since we'll be doing it as volunteers, we won't be chasing away the parents. The parents will also be there with us, because what you're going to be trained on is something that will also help the parents to help the kids when they're still at home. So the trainings are there, they still happen. All we need is people to say that, well, I'm good in doing this thing, but maybe now I don't know how to pass this knowledge to the kids. Then now we can of course help you one-on-one. That is, if I know that I can help you, maybe telling you we can break it down this way for the kids and all that, we can do that on that individual level. But then when we have the training days, of course we top up that knowledge now. Yeah.
And by the reason why we're asking these questions about training, and even now the presentation is done, I've tried to train the university students, on technical skills, and it can even be challenging, and these are adults. So what we are saying is teaching is not a cup of tea. So it needs that kind of a skill. So that's why people are interested, because you can come with all your passion and then children just making noise in the class. so people really need for Ian and the team, maybe you guys need to figure out whether you can come up with a week program or 3-day program to orient people who want to even commit long term how to interact with children. Because that way, if someone has learned how to interact with children, then they can commit their time. But they might be discouraged if they come and see the behavior of children again, like we're saying. So,
in regard to that, I have never taught in my life, and Junction was for the first time where I've had to. Okay, I've been teaching Nadia one-on-one, Nadia and her friend called Farisha. I used to teach them at home when we were doing homeschooling, but still for Junction was something different, because these were going to be a lot more kids, and kids from different backgrounds. And I'd say that when it comes to children, you just have to be on their level. You cannot, the language has to be on their level. If it's, you find a way how to explain to them things while making it fun. You can't afford to just be serious the whole time. You can, that's how they get interested. That's how they get interested. Am I right? Yeah, that's how they get interested. Play along with them, don't be too strict with them, and then that's how you build a rapport with children, if I could say that. So once you have a rapport with children and they see that you're friendly, it will be easier for them now to pay attention to what you're saying. And whatever skill you have, you can just find a way. You can do research on how you'd like to teach this skill, but you're teaching it to a certain age group. That's why we've divided the kids into different age groups. So you can research on how to teach a 5-year-old, how to teach a 10-year-old, and with that research, then you come and now put it into practice. Yeah.
And thank you, Samantha. Maybe to give a report of what has been happening for the last two months. I've been doing diagnostic tests for the kids, and I noted on the area of basic handwriting. I think children have gaps in their handwriting, how they shape letters, There's a way how to write, and not all teachers are keen to maybe do that. But I've noted, as you will see in your children's work, we have a portfolio. We put their work there so that as when we'll be doing the graduation, the final graduation, we will have them give them as they graduate. Yeah, so that they can keep on referring what they've been learning, and we can also make them accountable for it. So, I think there are gaps in the learning. So we also seek to cover up those gaps. Yeah, when we are teaching them, and I know. So some of the students who are feeling like, this is work for babies, yeah, yeah, babies. But I had a reason why I gave out that, because now, if somebody, if you've not gotten your handwriting right, then at the upper, I think I witnessed this in secondary. You write your own notes. If you cannot read your own notes, what happens? Yeah? What happens if you cannot read your own notes? What you have written? I know also some of us adults also we have we have issues with our handwriting, but that being said, it can also be an opportunity if you want to improve your handwriting. Yeah, you can can come. Yes, I know it's basic, but with the time they'll be writing essays. You know, we'll be engaging them in essay writing with the time. That is. This just a start. We couldn't do much because we only have an hour in a month, you know. But for the willing students, they can come. We give them work and they do them at home. Yeah, like one of the children came to me and she asked me to help her to develop a timetable, and I know she's keen in following the timetable, and I know there are many that are would like the same support, you know, similar support. We are here to assist wherever we can. Yes, Captain. Sorry.
Yeah. If you have a skill, like say I have some like handcraft or crochet or different skills that would be good for like the older girls. But the skill you bring, does it have to go through all three levels, like to help the young, you know, to be for the younger children, the middle-aged, and the older, and does it have to be for both genders, or so like maybe I have a skill but I'm not aware of the setup of Junction, so I have something for like older girls, but then it might not help with the rhythm and the routine of how the Junction flows.
I think we can always be
if I know that I
creative
can help
on
you,
how
maybe telling you we can break it down this way for the kids and all that.
So that
we can do that.
We accommodate every need that arises. Yeah, we are not cast on a stone. You know, the program is not cast on a stone. We can always adjust wherever we necessary. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So I think I'm done unless there is somebody with a burning issue or question to raise. Okay, I will now invite Samantha to come over and share with us how we can engage more. I know there are quite a number of things I've not mentioned, but she will make mention how we can engage within the program. Yes. Welcome, Samantha. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Martin. Hi, everyone. Hi. Well, I don't think I had prepared much for today. It only dawned on me what I would like to share just yesterday night. For this part, I'd like to share about the heart and the mind. So, if you'll allow me, I'll give you a testimony of this year. A few months back, I got a call for a job. I was to, what can I say, sit in for someone who was going on leave. So they needed someone to at least hold the fort while she was away. So I accepted. I thought this would be good income, even if it's just for a month. So I went. She supervised me for at least the first 2 weeks, and then the last 2 weeks she was away and I was left on my own. At the time, I began to think of, well, actually I was hoping and praying that it would not be just for the month, but it would be more long-term, because the income was good. I was going to get like 10K, and you know, with the COVID season, that was good. So I was excited about it, and I was, you know, it was not what really I wanted to be doing, but it was something. So the month went well. Had a few hiccups here and there. And in the course of that month is when I was informed that the Junction would kick off in September and not next year, January. So I was torn. I'm like, oh no, I just got this opportunity, and then there's this opportunity that I have been, you know, eager from the beginning of this year, because for me, the Junction was conceived, I think, at around the time during one of our Zizi sessions, when we were talking passionately about our talents and our skills and how we could serve. So this was not something that was just out of the blues that I wanted to do. And as much as I was excited about it starting sooner, I was concerned about what that meant for this other opportunity that I had. And I'd wake up every morning making the necessary preparations, and I'd go to work, and whenever on my walk to work, I would just ask myself, I began to ask myself, am I in the right place? Am I doing what I love? But I knew I had a goal for that month, and I really wanted to achieve it, come what may. So I was determined to hold on for that month, and even possibly hold on for the rest of the year to that job, and just find a way to also do the Junction as well. So there was anxiety, there was nervousness about what to do. Now, every day was a new day for me, and it was a new opportunity to learn and relearn things. And now I was at a junction where I had to, you know, I was like, what am I going to tell my boss? You know, will she allow me to work Monday to Friday and then allow me to do something that I was actually passionate about on Saturday, and then allow me to fellowship on Sunday and rest? That was my plan, but now I did not know how the boss would see it. So I was very nervous and I was very anxious about that. Now, I understood one thing, that rest is important, work is important, income is important. So I had three things that I wanted to hold on to. So I was like, the junction was, what do I do? So I had a conversation with my father, and the first thing he gave me was rest. He took off that burden of thinking of what am I going to do, what am I going to say, what do I choose, what do I hold on to, what do I let go of. It reached a point where I was no longer disturbed with these questions. I was ready for a yes answer or a no answer. Then he gave me confidence, and he gave me confidence to believe that he was the same person who brought along these opportunities, and he was the same person who would bring more opportunities no matter which path I chose to follow. So he even created the opportune time for me to approach my boss and speak my heart out. Let me tell you, it wasn't easy, because there's a look your boss gives you while you're speaking, and you're just like, oh, this one is not having it, this one. But I just expressed myself, and I spoke about the junction, how passionate I was about it, and I could read in her eyes that she was like, this one is not serious. You know, she's just called me for a job. She's going to be paying me 10K per month, and then I want to go for something that is only a one-day thing, that I'll not even be earning that much. So she's just looking at me. So she told me, one of the things she told me is, you know, you need to have an income here, and you also need to earn income there. You have a child to take care of, blah, blah, blah. And I was just looking at her like, I'm just nodding, I'm nodding. So she told me, I'll discuss with my family and then I'll give you feedback. Guess what? The feedback never came. As I patiently waited, no feedback came. I went back to my father again. I asked him what was going on, you know. But he told me to wait, to just wait. And I remember one of the other things we spoke about was purpose. I began to ask myself, this opportunity that I'd got working for this lady, was it long-term or short-term? Was it something I could see myself do for the rest of my life, or was it something that I just needed for the time because I had a certain goal, I wanted to achieve it, and once I've achieved it, I just feel like, now I don't need this. But then by that time, the junction opportunity, well, I felt like it would have no longer been as fruitful as I wanted it to be. Because when someone chooses you, you know, sees you as a good fit to be a leader, and then you just say, no, I'm sorry, I can't be a leader because I have something more pressing to do, and that opportunity just leaves you like that, I believe at some point you'll regret why you didn't take up that opportunity to lead. Because you never know. You might have been afraid to lead, saying you're not ready, you're too young, you're too busy. But then when that leadership grows and you see the results of that leadership, you ask yourself, why wasn't I a part of that? Why didn't I agree the first time the offer came in? Out there, people are competing to be leaders. This is the first place I've come where people literally choose you even when you don't want to lead. Out there, it's ruthless. People sabotage one another just to lead. People, even in the church, people sabotage one another because they want you out. They want to be given that opportunity to lead. So here I was given an opportunity to lead. On the other hand, I was being told, do what we say, don't do what you want to do. So I was like, for how long will I just be doing what people are telling me to do? When will I get the opportunity to use my brain, to use my mind? So it was very easy for me to just tell my boss, thank you for the opportunity, but this is where it ends. So I chose Junction, and I haven't regretted a day since. I know someone else would be like, you quit your job, you know, COVID season, everyone is looking for money, you just quit like that. But for me, I knew what I wanted to do. I already know my purpose. That means I know who I am. So it's not about how much you're earning. It's about the impact that you want to make. And with kids, it's a very beautiful thing. Because at least with kids, they are open to learning. They are excited. And that's why I wanted to be a part of the Junction. I wanted to share my knowledge. I wanted to share my skills with kids and to just see them grow, flourish in a community that I have never been part of. This whole place is very new to me. I was not born here. When I came here, I only knew the person who told me to come with her here. I didn't know anyone else. So for me, Junction is a big deal. And I want to see it grow. It's not short term, it's long term. I can see us go places with these children because I've seen a lot of improvements in these children since we started the Junction. Some were quiet. You would ask them a question and they just look at you like, what are you saying? You know? But now you find everyone wants to answer a question. Isn't that growth? Everyone wants to say something. And in the Junction, there is no right or wrong answer. You're just happy that a child has spoken. Because in the beginning, there were children who weren't saying a thing, and it was worrying. But now, children are excited. They say someone has said something, even if they'll repeat the same thing that that person has said. But for you, it's encouraging because they're speaking, and that's where now confidence comes out. That a child who has confidence can be anything and can do anything they set their hearts and minds to. And that's why the Junction has 3 parts: the mind, the heart, and the hand. Once they're convinced in their mind that I can do this and it's set in their hearts that they want to do this, then they can use their hands now. Now, I'll tell you a little story, but don't think I'm weird. When I was a young girl, at the time I felt like I was like the only child, even though I had a brother, but it seemed like I was always alone. So I'd be in my bedroom, and then on my bedroom wall with my pencil or chalk that I've taken from school and a book in hand, sometimes I'd have imaginary friends, sometimes I'd have dolls. And what would I do on the wall? I write. I just write. I'm just talking and I'm writing what I'm saying, and it's like I'm teaching. But you'd ask me what I want to become. A teacher was never one of the things I'd tell you I want to become. And yet it was part of my playtime. So here I am, given an opportunity to teach. I was just asked, so we're going to have Wendy in charge of the heart, we're going to have Zari in charge of the hand, we're going to have Martin in charge of the head. That is how we were chosen as the group leaders. And in my heart, I was told, don't refuse, don't say no, don't say no. And I was like, yes, okay. So like it was my first time being a leader. I was a leader in high school. You won't believe me, but I was a deputy school captain in high school. I was, what do they call it? In college, I was, I don't remember what they call it, but it's like you're a prefect, but yeah. Huh? Yes, a class rep, yes. And then I'm the firstborn, you know, so I guess leadership has always been in me, and people are always asking me, do this, do this, do this, do this. So I couldn't say no when Shari just volunteered me, and I was excited about it. I still am. So from this story you learn that a seed can be sown at a very early age. And God being the sower, He knows the season for harvest. And He takes care of the seed. He tends to it until it germinates and matures to the point of bearing fruit. And that's what we are hoping the Junction will do for these young kids and the parents and the volunteers and the teachers as well. It's a community-based program. Even though we are not able to accommodate all the children of the community, but we do what we can. If the volunteers are few, we cannot bring in 100 kids and we don't have enough teachers, we don't have enough resources, we don't have enough teachers to handle that capacity of children. So I've had mentions of people here who would like to, teach a skill. Please come on board. Just say, I'm good at this, I would like to teach. Then we can have a meeting, all of us, and see how you can, or when you can be a part of the program, when you can come and share your skills. Invite other people, but just be understanding with how the program has been set to run. If they say you need to register to join, please just register. And also share the word that you need to register to join, and explain to others how the Junction really is and how you become a part of it. And if you don't really understand it, then why don't you just recommend them to someone? Speak to Ian, speak to Rongari, let them tell you about the Junction because they are part of it. So we can all be a part of it. We can all help these kids grow. We can encourage their skills and growth by donating books, because we need to grow their minds. Whatever we sow into their minds, that's how they will grow with it, and that's how they will flourish. Arts, they do arts and crafts. If you can donate or even be a part of doing the crafts with them. If you have ideas on events that you'd like to do with the kids, you can share as well with the team. Sports supplies, the kids are so enthusiastic about sports. If you want to buy a football, you're just walking in the street and you see a football. Buy the football and you bring it and say, hey, this is for the kids at Junction. You have that extra savings that you have kept away, and you say, I'd like to help someone in the community. Buy books, story books. They're in the streets, you find them for like 200 bob. Just buy books and say, hey, this is for the Junction. You might not know the kid who will benefit from the donations that you make. And also volunteering and teaching them the skills. I'm sure there are kids who would love to learn how to sew, to do those welding activities, because they might not have the same opportunities that we can give them here at Junction, at their schools. They might even wish that, I wish Junction was my school and not even the normal school that they go to, and that would be so encouraging. I feel so happy and blessed to have a team. I have a dream, and I'm so happy that I'm part of a team that I can see the dream, coming to a reality. Thank you.
Winding up, I'm just winding up. We in the last 2 months we did the character trait of creativity, and this month we did commitment, and this is the theme verse for commitment, that you commit everything you do to the Lord, trust Him, and He will help you. So that was the verse, and I know as we talk about this, there is value that is being inculcated in their lives. So we thank God. So thank you so much. I welcome the service host. God bless you all. Thank you.